an instrument.
And now you can, with the Doremi Program from the AHS-TV Foundation. Education Today starts now.
Welcome to Education Today. I'm Haley Woodside of the Armstrong High School in the Armstrong School District. Today we are going to take a look in at a valuable group that helps out the school district in many ways every year. You may have heard of programs such as Do-Re-Mi, which puts instruments in the hands of students who otherwise may not be able to afford them. You may also have heard of a number of monetary grants that teachers are awarded every year. These grants help bring cutting-edge initiatives alive in our classrooms. The group that is responsible for all of this is the AHS-TV Foundation in partnership with the district's very own faculty and other major community businesses. The AHS-DF is a nonprofit organization that raises money to provide Armstrong School District students with enriching, exciting programs that may not otherwise be funded by local tax dollars. To talk more about this today, we have the organization's executive director with us. Welcome to Education Today. Please tell us briefly about yourself and your roles with the foundation.
My name is Chris Caratano. I am the Executive Director of the AHS-TV Foundation, and actually right now I'm acting as the interim president of the foundation as well. And I have been doing a lot of different jobs, I guess, for the foundation over the time that I've been involved with them.
How long have you been involved with the organization?
I was appointed to the foundation probably 6 years or so ago, and as I mentioned, I've served in different positions. I started as the executive director. Actually, I started as a liaison between the district and the foundation. Went to the executive director about a year later, and then for the last year and a half, I served as the interim president when our previous one had to step down.
What is the main objective of the AHS-TV Foundation?
Well, the foundation, the goal for us is to enhance the educational opportunities for the school district's youth. So we are called the Armstrong School District Foundation. We're not actually affiliated with the school district. We're our own separate organization. But everything that we do is to help fund different initiatives and programs within the confines of the Armstrong School District.
Are there any programs that you would be able to tell us about?
Yeah, we have a handful of what we'll call staple programs, ones that we do every year. A couple of them were mentioned in the intro there. The big one that we are actually getting ready to roll out now, we roll out every October, is the Doremi Program. It stands for Donated Refurbished Musical Instruments. We have a teacher innovative grant thing that we do every year. We do 2 major grant proposal times per year. With that, we do a couple of different things with trying to help the technology department as well, supplement what they do with the district. So those are the main things, and then we also do a major fundraiser at the end of the year. It's our biggest one, and really our primary one is the golf outing we do at the end of every school year in June.
Are there any ways that people can donate money to the foundation, since, like you said, it is nonprofit?
Yes, anybody can donate, from businesses to community members to anybody outside of the walls of the school district or even the county. The best way of doing that would be to get in touch with myself, and I'm located at Armstrong High School, junior, senior high school. And the best way would be to contact me and ask me how they can become involved. But we have faculty and staff members. We do have some partnerships with local businesses as well right now. So yeah, I mean, anybody can really donate, and donations are accepted in more ways than just monetary as well. So,
what is the Educator Grant Initiative?
The Educator Grant Initiative, like I briefly mentioned, we have 2 different grant proposal times per year. We do one in the fall and one in the spring. And then what we started a couple of years ago is we do what we also call a rolling grant period, which means that teachers could submit grants to us by the 25th of each month. and then they are reviewed a couple of weeks later at our monthly meetings. So what the grant process enables any teacher to do is to be able to apply for a grant, and we have 4 different denominations. We have $500 classroom grants, $1,000 grade-wide grants, $2,000 school-wide grants, and $5,000 district-wide grants. And right now we kind of have a mix of all of those different kinds of grants in action right now in our district. And teachers can apply for those, and we have several that are out there right now that are kind of being worked on, and some of them that we're able to fund. We especially like to fund ones that are kind of self-sustaining, so they can continue to use those grant materials from year to year instead of just during 1 year period. So,
Are there any examples that you'd be able to give us about new ideas that have popped up?
the biggest one that's popped up this year is probably a biotechnology grant that was written by a teacher here in Armstrong High School. That was initially written as a $5,000 district-wide grant, and that was to help supplement getting that program kind of up and running. It is not quite to the point of being in use yet, but it's in the infancy stages of getting going. Additionally, a teacher at West Shamokin High School also wrote a $2,000 grant under the same heading. And so you kind of have the same program being taught in both high schools right now, or getting the groundwork laid in both high schools right now.
Do you know when those programs will be able to start?
As of right now, we don't know. They've been, I believe, approved, and right now they are considered, I believe, an independent study course. I think the hope is that these eventually will become part of the curriculum as a regular class that anybody could enroll in. But right now, I believe that they've started, but they're laying the groundwork for them. There might be a couple of students actually taking them as independent study courses. So hopefully the funding's going to come through, the program will get going, and I would say sometime later on this year or the beginning of next year, it'll hopefully be offered as a full-time curriculum course.
For those who may be wondering, generally speaking, what requirements or restrictions are in place when teachers apply for these said grants?
Well, first, just to be clear, because we have had some different communication go on, it is just for Armstrong School District teachers. Anybody from kindergarten through 12th grade that teaches any subject area. And we have actually had other administrators and staff, such as myself, apply for these grants as well, because a lot of what we are doing is directly impacting the students. For example, I applied for a grant one time that I did in cooperation with TV production teachers, because we needed materials that we didn't have the money to purchase one year, and so we wrote a grant together that I stayed out of, and from an acknowledgement standpoint, I guess. And then that money was able to be used to purchase video switching technology that we use at West Shamokin High School right now. The restrictions really are very minimal. The foundation does not cover any cost to pay for a substitute teacher. So for example, if they write a grant that has something to do with a field trip, we may cover the cost of the field trip, but we won't cover the cost of busing or the cost of a substitute teacher for that day. Those are really the primary things that we do not, that would be considered a restriction of sorts. Another element that I'd like to just mention briefly is our review process for these grants. All grants do come to me. Those grants I then censor. So the cover sheet of a grant will have a teacher's information listed. I black all of that information out, so when our review committee looks at these grants, the only information they see is the title of the grant, the amount it's for, and what the grant actually is. Those grants then are ranked. They're given scores based on a rubric that we use, and they're sent to me. I put them into a spreadsheet, and then I go over that information at our next meeting. So when they're evaluated without knowing who wrote them. Which is why in some cases we've had a couple of teachers who have won multiple grants in 1 year, a couple that have won grants in successive years. So there's no indication as to who the grant writers are until after we've either approved or disapproved a grant.
And these grants could be established for like anything, for the music foundation, for TV prod, like you said, for science, math?
Correct. They're all, everything that is taught or is being in somehow an extension of the classroom, I guess is the best way to put it for our school district. That's what we'll fund. So if it is a piece of, just as an example, if it's a piece of equipment for the auditorium that is going to be used for the musical, for example, that would be something that we would look at potentially funding if we're able to, because we consider that an extension of the classroom, specifically drama, theater, English, things like that. And of the music department, because a lot of times the music department is somehow involved in those as well. So yes, and the other thing that I think we'll mention later is different technologies such as sciences and maths can be funded under a different type of program that we have called the EITC program. So,
I understand that the foundation has an all-volunteer board of trustees. Who serves on this board?
Currently, we have a mix. Like you said, they're all volunteers, but we have a mix of both school district employees and community representatives. So right now, in addition to myself, other school district employees include Kirk Lorgan, who's our secondary principal representative. Paula Berry is our elementary principal representative. We have Carol Lorgan is our treasurer, and then we also have Sam Kirk, who's the district business manager, and Mr. Krista Vivo, who's the district superintendent. They sit on the board as district employees. Additionally, we have a couple of former employees. Dr. John Shaner is our vice president right now. Sue Bowser is a former teacher, retired teacher of the district. And additionally, community members include Tom Toy, Lisa Lambert, Linda Schaefer, Alicia Wolf, who is a representative from Klingensmiths. Terry Thomas recently joined the board, and she's a representative from Next Tier Bank. And I believe that covers all of our current board members.
And everybody on here volunteers, nobody's paid?
Correct, yes.
You said earlier that the ASD Foundation holds an annual golf outing. Would you be able to go into more detail about that?
Yeah, as I mentioned, that's our primary fundraiser every year. It's held typically the end of the second or third week in June. The day sometimes fluctuates depending on the availability of the local golf courses. But what we've been doing is we typically hold it at the Katanning Country Club, and we can accommodate up to 20 foursomes, and usually we fill our entire outing. We get a catered breakfast or brunch and dinner for our golfers, and we also provide lunch. We've been very fortunate over the years to have a lot of very good donors to this outing. Some have been vendors that have worked closely with the school district, and some are community representatives that are out there. And the way we have a silent auction that people donate items to. We also have skill prizes. We bring in another golf outfit that comes in and actually does skill holes where golfers could take place in the event and potentially win anything from a $500 watch to a brand new driver to a putter. We also do a putting competition, and the dinner and breakfast that I mentioned are catered by Gardas. And then, like I said, we offer lunch, chips, things like that, and then we always have a kind of a bag of goodies that we give to all the golfers when they register.
Can anybody participate in the golf outing?
Anybody can participate. We have had former students. We've had any people from the business, people from the community. We've had teachers. What we typically try to do is hold the outing right after the school year ends. So that way, if there are teachers or other district employees who want to participate, the school year is already behind us and they don't have to worry about things of that nature. A lot of the administrators participate with vendors who sponsor foursomes. So we do have several people from the district and community who participate.
Do you have to pay money to be able to register?
Yeah, we offer a couple of different things. We have 4 different levels of sponsorship that include foursomes, and they range anywhere from $500 to $1,500 in price. I think actually the highest one we have is $2,000. And if just a foursome would want to sign up, it is $400 for a foursome, or $100 per golfer. So we have had individual golfers sign up before, and then we place them in foursomes, and then we have had just foursomes be purchased before without a sponsorship level.
Okay, we are going to take a short break and then be back with more of Armstrong School District's Education Today. Stick around.
Success. We see it every day. Hundreds of majors and programs, bachelor's degrees to PhDs, small classes, internationally known faculty who are committed to your success. Real-world experiences to guide you on your career and life path. An alumni network 120,000 strong. I'm IUP President Mike Driscoll. Visit us. Find your success at Indiana University of Pennsylvania.
We are back with Education Today, and now we are going to briefly cover what EITC dollars are and how they've helped the ASD Foundation. Earlier, we've mentioned another source of money that the foundation has available to it. Could you speak about the EITC money, what it is, and how it's used?
Sure. EITC stands for Educational Improvement Tax Credits. What it typically is used for are things like the math, sciences, technology, and engineering. It's actually comes from the term STEM, which stands for those 4 topics. And what it's used for is specifically for things related to those courses or those fields. And typically the money is used for things or has restrictions in place basically on how we can use it.
Take one step away for a minute from the EITC. For businesses interested in donating, what does donating to a nonprofit organization such as the ASD Foundation mean for them?
Well, the foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. What that means, and that's for businesses, is just that it's a way of being able to provide money to a nonprofit. And for them, it's, the biggest benefit to them, outside of the fact that they're supporting their community and their students, is that it's also a tax write-off for the businesses themselves. And we provide letters of receipt anytime anybody donates anything to us.
And for any business that wants to donate, all they have to do is contact you?
Yeah, my address, our official address for the foundation is P.O. Box 961, Katanning, PA. They can also get a hold of me at the Armstrong Junior Senior High School, number 724-548-7600, extension 1846. That would be the best way to get a hold of me. We also have a website. It's www.asdfoundation.org. And there's my contact information on there, along with all of the programs that we offer, information on EITC, my email address, things of that nature, and that would be the best way for them to inquire about donating.
5, 4, 3. What has having this money available to the ASD Foundation done?
It's opened up avenues for us to fund projects that may still not be funded. The reality of the economic landscape in our area right now is something that I think everybody knows and understands. And school districts' wallets are pinched a little bit because of that. And fortunately, we've been able to kind of step in and help the district with some projects that would either be not possible to start right now, or would make it a little bit even more tight for the school districts. So what it's allowed for us to do is be able to help the district fund projects or supplement what they're already doing with projects and classes such as the robotics courses that are offered in our secondary buildings, as well as this new biotechnology course that is hoping to get really developed here in the next few years. It's also allowed us to do an iPad cart initiative for the district. It's helped supplement what the technology department does as far as laptop carts in the buildings. And it's really our biggest source of income for projects that we can fund is coming through this EITC program. Without that, there's a lot of things that we've been able to fund, both teacher grants and at a district level, that would have never happened. At least we wouldn't have been able to fund them otherwise. So.
Is there a certain process in the spending of this money that you have to follow?
Yeah, there are requirements and guidelines that are set forth from the government that we have to follow. The primary examples would be that anything that we fund through EITC, first of all, has to fall under that category of STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and math, or STEAM, which takes all of those and adds art to it as well. And what those have been seen as a priority in our state and across the country and worldwide. I don't think I need to tell you guys about how technology, it drives the world, right? And so that's been seen as a priority of getting these types of courses funded and getting as much technology as we can immersed in the education. So they have to fall into those categories, and they typically have to be things that wouldn't usually or ordinarily be purchased in the school budget. And those are the primary factors that we look at. An example would be if you have in your math class they need some calculators. We wouldn't be able to fund the $20 or $30 calculator you're going to go buy at Walmart. But if they are specific calculators, such as a higher-end graphing calculator, we could fund those, and we have funded those in the past. So that would be kind of an example of the line that we have to toe between what is acceptable and what's not.
Quickly, can you tell us about the Doremi program?
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, it stands for Donate or Refurbish Musical Instruments. We have a great partnership with Murphy's Music Center in Leechburg. What this program allows and what has happened is people from the community, whether it be former teachers, whether it be the schools themselves, or whether it be community members, have donated instruments to us. So we have everything we have flutes and clarinets, trumpets, alto saxes, we have a tenor sax actually right now, trombones, we even have a French horn, and some bell kits that have been donated. But what that does is it puts, the slogan for that is it puts instruments in the hands of students who otherwise may not be able to afford them. So what we do at the beginning of every school year, I email the elementary school music teachers. I tell them, okay, we're getting ready to do this program again this year. They pass out documentation to students who they feel need it, and or may be interested in it, I guess is the better way to put it. And then those documents come back to me. They have a selection where they can select what instrument they'd prefer to play. And from there, we make a decision on if we're able to fill their request. For example, I literally just went through this process in the last couple of weeks. We're short on trumpets, alto saxes. We have lots of clarinets and flutes and trombones. Not that we wouldn't be willing to take any more in, or any instrument for that matter. But we're short on those, and those are some of the ones that students like to play the most. So typically the requirements, we give priority to 4th grade students, and then work our way up from there. And the requirements of that program for a student who has that instrument is they play that instrument and keep it through their graduation or until they leave the school district or quit the instrument. So at any point, if they stop playing or leave the district, whether it's graduation or moving, the instrument has to come back to us. We send it to Murphy's, they go through it, clean it up, send it back to us, and we redistribute it.
What are the future hopes and dreams of the ASD Foundation?
For us, it's just continuing to find ways to fund projects that teachers have. We've had some really, really unique and creative ideas come through from elementary the whole way through the secondary buildings. So for us, our priority is to continue to find ways to fund these programs, continue to find ways to help supplement what the technology department's doing. We have iPad carts in every elementary building right now, for example, and to find ways that best help the school district as a whole and give students the best education that they can get.
Do you have anything else to add for the benefit of our viewers?
I don't. Other than we are a nonprofit organization, any funding that you're able to provide us, no donation is too big or too small. As I've mentioned, beyond monetary donations, instruments, your time. There's a lot of different ways to become involved and to help out the foundation. And I encourage anybody who may be interested to contact me for information on it, because everything that we do goes back into our school buildings, and and therefore affects our communities of the district directly. So
that's our show for tonight. Every year, the ASD Foundation gives our students more and more reasons to look forward to going to school so that they can take advantage of these great opportunities. I'd like to thank our guest, Mr. Chris Garitano of the ASD Foundation, for being on the show. I'd also like to thank all the Foundation's donors, individuals, retired and current teachers, companies big and small, because the ASD Foundation lives by donations. And we also need to thank our film crew. Today, we had Armstrong High School students led by teacher Mr. Don Swanson. Please join us again next week for another look at the Armstrong School District. DVD copies of this and all Education Today programming can be requested by contacting Chris Garitano, ASD's multimedia technician, at Armstrong High School. Visit our website for updated news and information about the district. Have a great week.